So, there was this group that lived across the street. There was this woman named Beth. Beth had kids, had teenagers, and Beth became friends with other teenagers that were her teenagers' friends. And everybody referred to her as Mom. This story happened, and I saw this movie called Ma, and that scared the shit out of me, because everything you saw is what happened across the street. I saw this, I was thinking like, holy shit, someone read my life story. And my sister, she doesn't talk about it. Like, we talked about it once, and we just decided not to talk about it. Because everything we witnessed was some weird shit. Because this whole family was fucking weird. So, my sister became friends with one of them. She had sympathy for the youngest, because the youngest always got bullied and beaten up. Not beaten up, but mostly got slapped. Yeah, she got beaten up, she got slapped. So, my sister started hanging out with them. And my sister started noticing weird things. Like, this woman allowed kids to stay at her house. She got involved in these kids' life. Everything about it. She got involved in it. She went to family gatherings. She gave advice. And I know someone's going to be like, well, she's just being caring and stuff. But no, this woman was weird. She had these kids call her Mom. She basically almost adopted these kids. Everything about it was just weird. She gave them alcohol. She allowed them to smoke. I mean, she bought cartons of cigarettes and gave each teen a pack of cigarettes like it was fucking candy. Everything about it was just weird. I just looked at it, I was just thinking, like, what the fuck? Even when I walked outside feeding the cats, I just looked at these kids who were, like, smoking and, listening to Eminem, and I'm thinking, like, what the fuck? So, and it was just weird, like, she ended up, like, trying to get involved in our lives. Like, she tried to give my sister advice. Everything about it was just weird. Buying them alcohol, buying them cigarettes, even buying them pot. This woman was basically controlling these kids' lives. And I remember one time she got into a fight with the neighbor across the street who didn't like these kids on the, loitering around the neighborhood. And she got mad because she was like, I don't want drama and I don't start drama. And this woman started drama. One day my dad told my sister, don't hang out with these people. I don't want you around them. I don't want them over here. I don't want you to associate with them. And that woman got pissed. She got mad. And she started stalking our house. Like, she would stand in her driveway and watch us. She sent some of her kids to, like, peek through the windows. She started calling the cops for, like, random things. Like, for example, this is what happened. My dad This is back in the early 2000s. Mind you, there wasn't a cell phone. There was cell phones, but not like today. And there wasn't Wi-Fi, so my dad hollered to my sister, can you get off the phone? I need to call somebody. And I think it was like the mechanic, because they had the car in the shop, and he wanted to see what the bill would be. And my sister was like, yeah. He goes, alright. And like, they were hollering. They didn't, like, my dad didn't go to the door and be like, I need the phone, can you get off? They're, we're ghetto, we holler. So, and this woman called the cops because of it, claiming that my dad and my sister got into a shouting match, which didn't happen. Like, she became friends with the cop, which is fucking weird. And the reason of it, I remember my sister got upset. My sister was like, why did you do that? And the woman was like, I want you as my daughter. That raised a fucking red flag right there. And it was just, I remember I said something to Adam. I was like, this woman's fucking weird, dude. And Clark, and this is why I don't talk to Clark, because Clark is, I'm happy that he has kids, kind of. He doesn't deserve it, but Clark told the one brother, and the one brother threatened to stab me. Which scared the fuck out of me. Because, I'm young and I'm not like today where I just don't put up with shit. I just start, I'd beat the shit out of somebody with a bat. They threatened to stab me. But this dude threatened to stab me. And I got mad at Clark when I found out Clark snitched. And I punched that motherfucker in the face. I was just like, you are a two-faced, lying, you know what. And I remember that she kept going at us, the Beth is her name. And she kept, going at us. She called the cops. And it got to the point where my dad almost got arrested if one more cop call. And my mom's like, fuck this, we're getting out of this neighborhood. I remember we packed everything. We got out of there quick. We got ran out of town, is what happened. Because this woman was stalking. And stalking. To the point where she followed us out of the neighborhood and showed up at the new place. Which was fucked up. She showed up. And how she showed up? She parked her van and sent her kids into the woods to watch us. And her kid nearly got mauled by our dog. And the neighbors, that's another story to tell, I guess I'll tell it later, but almost shot this woman. Because her kid, because she showed up trying to be friends with them, and those people were not the kind you wanted to be friends with, because they didn't want friends. They told her to get off the property or she's going to get shot, because they had enough to deal with. They had crazy people to deal with, but and that was the last we ever saw of them. We just didn't see them again after her son nearly got mauled and she almost got shot with a shotgun. So, and years later, I was back in the town. This was like a couple years ago. And I stopped at the produce stand. Because I always liked the produce, because they always got fresh produce. So I ended up buying strawberries, grapes, peaches, watermelon. And they had good peaches, by the way. And I decided, like, I wonder what happened at, the old address. So I decided to drive through there. And during that time, I just sort of reminisced the whole memories and noticed the swimming pool got taken out because kids decided to bust a gate and drive their bikes into the swimming pool after watching an episode of Jackass. And I arrived at Blue Jay Hill. And I drove up to the address, because I remember the address, 118. And it wasn't the same place. It was a totally different place. And I pulled the car into the driveway, because mind you, this is on a hill. I pulled into the driveway of a place that was empty and all that, and had a for sale or rent sign. So I got out and I just looked at the place. Somebody lived there, but they weren't there. So I just sort of looked at it and I was just thinking, like, I wonder what happened. And all of a sudden, I hear a voice. Can I help you? And I turned around, and it was Clark. I remember he looked at me, I looked at him. He didn't change at all. I was like, Clark? And he goes, Josh, what are you doing here, dude? I was like, just driving through town, see, the place, and stop at the produce, getting ready to head back to, the current place I'm at. He goes, it's been a while. I was like, yeah. I was like, what happened to the old place? He goes, it got burnt down. I just looked at him like, burnt down? The place was in perfect condition. There was nothing wrong with it. He goes, yeah, after you left, Alicia left with her family, Adam disappeared, place burnt down. I was like, well, who burnt it down? He goes, Beth and her kids burned it down. So you guys wouldn't come back here. I was just sort of like taken back on like, the fuck? He goes, yeah, so they burnt the place down, and after they got out of using an excuse that, electrical fire and all that, they disappeared. I was like, huh. He goes, yeah, shame. And I remember I got into the car. I rolled up the windows, locked the doors, because I didn't know what the fuck was going to happen next. I looked back at him, and I decided to roll the window down. I was like, you want to catch up? I'm on Facebook, which I'm not anymore. I was like, I'm on Facebook, if you ever, I'll shoot you a friend request, we'll catch up. He goes, yeah. And I drove off, and I remember looking at the back mirror. He was standing in the middle of the road, watching me leave. And I remember it was like the creepiest thing, because he just watched me leave.